Today we continue our World War II series. Now remember, we've ditched the century part of our date, because surely you can remember that World War II happened in the 1900s, right? Right? Well, we're just going to be doing the month and year. So today's date is December 1941, or 1241, the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbour. A conflict between the USA and Japan had been anticipated since the 1890s, when the USA annexed Hawaii, a sovereign nation, and got closer and closer to the Japanese sphere of influence. The Second Sino-Japanese War had also reached a stalemate, and Japan had been unable to gain the necessary resources on the mainland to attain victory. Japan's conduct in the war caused the USA and Britain to blockade Japan, and President Roosevelt appealed to US companies to stop providing Japan with war materials. Roosevelt moved the Pacific Fleet to Hawaii and built up the military in the Philippines. In July 1941, the US ceased oil exports to Japan, after they seized French Indochina after the fall of France. Japan wanted to take the Dutch East Indies as they were very oil-rich. America told Japan not to invade. Japan now had a choice: abandon the war in China in defeat, or conquer and control the resources they needed around the Pacific. The Japanese planned an attack on the US Pacific Fleet at Pearl Harbour, which would massively prevent future action in Southeast Asia. On December 7, 1941, at 9 a.m., 352 Japanese aircraft from their carrier fleet bombed Pearl Harbour. 4 of the 8 battleships present were sunk, and the other 4 significantly damaged. 3 cruisers and 3 destroyers were also sunk. 2,403 Americans were killed during the attack. Vital installations like dry docks and fuel and torpedo storage facilities were not attacked as part of the overall bombardment, and the headquarters building survived as well. The aircraft carriers were not present on the day of the attack, and were therefore available for future combat in the Pacific. Japan actually intended to declare war before the attack began. However, transcribing the message took too long, and so it was delivered an hour after the attack. Germany and Italy declared war on the 11th of December, even though it was not required by the Tripartite Pact. The USA were now fully invested in World War II. Admiral Takajihara was quoted as saying, "We won a great victory at Pearl Harbour, and thereby lost the war." To remember this date, let's take some Japanese planes over Hawaii and an aircraft carrier, and they drop some bombs. Bombs displaying advertising material for the Pearl Harbour film starring Ben Affleck, Kate Beckinsale, and Josh Hartnett. As the bombs fall through the sky, they eventually form the pattern of 1241, today's date. Then they finally hit the ground, also forming the same numbers, 1241, out of their explosions, completely missing the aircraft carrier. The Americans take the mick, and thus they enter the war. December 1941, or 1241, the attack on Pearl Harbour. Thanks for watching.